Hey Sarah, check out all this stuff I got.
Oh my gosh, I wish I could go shopping. I am so broke.
Well, I worked a bunch of overtime during the holidays and I made a bunch of extra money. I got to go shopping, I got some new shoes, I even paid off my credit card debt and got to save some money.
I worked a bunch of extra hours over the holiday, like 60 hours a week, but I didn't get any extra pay.
Huh, well, don't you get overtime, like time and a half, when you work more than 40 hours in a week?
I don't think so. Let me check my paycheck.
Why didn't she earn overtime for all those extra hours of work? Look at how much more she would have made if she had been paid time and a half once she went over 40 hours in 1 week.
So I've taken a look at your 1099 and the pay stubs that you've shown me, and it looks like you'll owe about $5,000 this year.
I don't understand. How can that be? Why so much?
Well, your boss classified you as an independent contractor. That's why you got this 1099 instead of the W-2. And you haven't had any income taxes taken out of your income this year, so that's why you're going to owe taxes now.
Why was I classified as an independent contractor? What does that mean?
Well, an independent contractor usually is someone who owns their own business. So you would bring your own tools, purchase your own materials, set your own pay rate, set your own schedule, that kind of thing. An example would be like the plumber who comes to your house to fix a leak in your shower.
That doesn't make any sense. I worked on a construction site and I brought my own tool belt to work, but I didn't get to decide when I could arrive or when I could leave, or even my own pay rate. That was decided by my boss, the contractor.
I don't know then.
Mike didn't realize it at the time, but his employer was paying him as a contractor rather than an employee. At the end of the year, Mike got a 1099 that showed that he had not paid any taxes on his income for that year.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Jones?
Yes?
I'm calling from XYZ Collections Agency. I'm calling in regards to a debt you owe to Baltimore City Medical Center for $300,000 related to your hospital stay 6 months ago.
What? I thought that was being taken care of.
Have you already sent in a payment?
Yes. Well, no. My boss is supposed to be taking care of it.
Well, we haven't received any payments, and the hospital sold your debt to this agency. If you do not pay immediately, we will report this debt to the credit reporting agencies.
But I don't have that kind of money. Besides, the accident happened at work. My boss said he would take care of all the medical bills. Then when I applied for workers' compensation, they said I wasn't qualified. What am I supposed to do?
Why wasn't Miss Jones covered by her employer's workers' compensation insurance policy? Have you been classified as an independent contractor? If you answer yes to the following questions, it is likely that you are classified as an independent contractor. Did you get a 1099? Are you paid only for straight time, even when you work over 40 hours a week? Are you paid on a daily or weekly rate regardless of how many hours you work? Do your paychecks show that no deductions have been taken out, FICA, federal, or state withholdings? What you don't know can hurt you. There are important differences between employees and independent contractors. Employees have protections. Employees can collect unemployment insurance if they lose their job. Employees are covered by their employer's workers' compensation policy. Employees are covered by laws that protect them from discrimination. Employees are required to be paid minimum wage of $7.25 an hour and at an overtime rate of time and a half for every hour over 40 that they work in a work week, with some exceptions. Independent contractors have obligations. Independent contractors have to pay their own unemployment insurance. Independent contractors pay for a workers' compensation policy to cover workers they bring onto the job. Independent contractors are not protected by discrimination laws and do not have a right to earn minimum wage or overtime. Independent contractors must file tax returns for their business or self-employment income. Independent contractors must provide copies of licenses or registrations to the person or company that hired them. How do I know whether I'm an employee or an independent contractor? No single factor determines whether you are an independent contractor or employee. It depends on how much direction and control others have over your work. Ask yourself the following questions. Are you paid an hourly wage? Do you have a boss? Does your boss set your hours? Does your boss tell you what needs to be done each day? Does your boss have control over the quality of your work? Does your boss provide you with the tools or materials you use? Does your boss direct or control how you do your job? Does your boss know how to do your job? Is the type of work you do similar to the usual work of the business that hired you? For example, carpentry work for a construction business? If you answered yes to one or more of these questions, you may be an employee and not an independent contractor.
If you are an employee but are being paid or otherwise treated like an independent contractor, you have been misclassified. Employers misclassify workers when they pay workers off the books or as independent contractors, but treat the workers as regular employees. Some employers intentionally misclassify workers to avoid paying taxes, workers' compensation, overtime, or other benefits that employees can get. Calling an employee an independent contractor can save the business money and increase profits, but it also leaves the worker without important workplace protections.
If you think you may have been misclassified or have questions about this information, you can call Public Justice Center's Workplace Justice Project at 1-877-3-JUST-PAY or www.publicjustice.org, or the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, DLLR, Division of Labor and Industry, at 410-767-2236, or dli@dllr.state.md.us. You can also visit their webpage at www.dllr.state.md.us/labor.